Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and for the last week I've been driving the 2025 Mini Countryman SE All4. Below me are two electric motors powering this all-electric vehicle. Now I am super excited to be making this video because I've spent the last week driving the Mini Countryman, and I have to say, there are some things about this vehicle that I absolutely love. There are some downsides for sure, but we're going to get into it here today and driving not only our first Mini press car, but our first all-electric Mini here on the channel. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that all-electric drivetrain. Well, it makes about 308 horsepower altogether. It is dual motor, meaning it also is all-wheel drive. That's what that All4 in the name suggests. However, right off the bat here, we do have go-kart mode, which will kick up some fake noise. You hear, we'll talk about the modes here in a second. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is no slouch. Here we go. If nothing else, it makes really, really cool noises. Now, it makes said cool noises while going fast. This is no slouch. This feels like more than 308 horsepower. Now, a lot of that is because it's immediate, but it is incredibly, incredibly fun to drive in that way. It does have a single-speed automatic transmission. As I said, it is all-wheel drive. So what's it like to drive the Mini Countryman? It's very quick. It's a very EV experience. And what I mean by that is that I've spent a lot of time driving R53s and early Mini Coopers and things like that. It's not going to handle or drive like that. This vehicle is heavy, and there's no getting around that. Trying to throw this around in the twisties, it is very nose heavy and loves to understeer. That's just because of how heavy this vehicle is. So, if you want a nimble handling vehicle, this is definitely not it. But if you want that straight line punch, this will certainly deliver that for you. Other than that, visibility's been pretty good. Size is good. It's bigger than I expected, but still like the size of like a CX-5 or RAV4 or something like that. So overall, it's been relatively enjoyable. Now, range is always a question with EVs, and let me tell you, it ain't great in the Countryman SE. 204 miles on a full charge. Now, you can get a little bit more out of it when you go into eco mode. I saw about 220 out of eco mode, but alas, it ain't great. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior because we have a lot to talk about. Well, in front of me, I have a little dinky piece of plastic that is projecting my gauge on it. I don't like this for two reasons. First of all, I think the plastic looks cheap, feels like a McDonald's toy. The second thing is that because it's projected onto the piece of plastic, as my head moves or if I sit up or slouch down in my seat, my gauge either becomes easier or harder to see. Normal gauges, this isn't an issue. You could see them from every angle. But if you change the angle of your head with these, you might miss it or crop it out, which is not really good. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our cruise control options, and off to the right, we have volume, skip track, favorite, and phone options. But something interesting on the steering wheel is that the center spoke at the bottom is actually like very taut fabric. This is like a ratchet strap. Very, very cool looking, and a feature I haven't seen in a car before. However, trying to rest your hand there on a road trip is not great. It's very uncomfortable. Off to the left, we do have a climate vent, but then you'll start to notice this woven interior. Absolutely love this interior. And moving on to the door, we have the Harman Kardon speaker. We have the latch to get in and out with even more of this woven material, which is color changing. So it sort of blends into this more burnt orange brown look. Really, really love that. And down below, we have the lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. All right, let's talk mini infotainment. First of all, as you can see, it is a giant circle. Now, minis of the past, going all the way back to the late 50s, had giant circular gauges in the center. So they've maintained it here, even though this is a touchscreen. So we could go into this. We do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is absolutely fantastic. It is A little awkward just because Apple CarPlay is square and the screen is circular, but I think they've integrated it pretty well. Coming down here, the climate controls are ran through the screen, which is a bummer. However, in auto mode, it actually has caught up pretty well with even the heat of the summer. It stays pretty good, and as soon as you open the door, it turns on the heat or AC. So while you're fumbling around getting your keys, it is already pre-cooling it down. We do have built-in navigation and whatnot. Pretty cool here, and I just love to see how cute it is, and this UI is just so fantastic. Here we have our trip data, but we can also take a look at the car, and let's see here. If I turn the wheel, it actually does turn the wheel, and as you start moving in real life, let me put it into drive, you could see the wheels on the screen start turning. Very, very cool to see that. I guess now's a good time to talk about the backup camera. It is incredibly clear, very, very nice quality, and it does have a 360 camera that is very cool. We could also record a new path. You can save path recordings. Very, very cool. We can go over here to our trailer coupling view. Car wash. Oh, to line it up for the car wash. That makes sense. That's pretty cool. Coming over here, we have some more assistants and screens and all of that. You also do get Skip, who is like a little virtual assistant. It's this adorable little puppy. Hey, Minnie. How much range do I have?
Your Mini can make 114 miles.
It's not the friendliest sounding, but I just love that little look. You do get dual zone climate as well as, and we could do heated seats and whatnot through here. So you do get some hotkeys and whatnot. But overall, I think that this center screen is a very big win just because of how unique it is. Down below that, we get a few buttons. So we do get the gear selector off to the left with the park button. Then we get the power switch. So this basically operates as your key. You get in, you turn the car on, you get out, you turn the car off. This is very confusing. Even after a week of driving it, it still confused me because a lot of current EVs, you either get in and get out and it automatically turns on and off like the GM EVs, or you have to turn them on like a traditional vehicle. This, when you get into the car, the accessories turn on, but then you still have to hit the switch on and off. So sometimes I'll get in and I assume that it's ready to drive, and then I'll put my foot on the brake, and then I can't select it, so it's been a little odd. Then we have our experiences switch. So not drive modes, we have experiences. So let's cycle through a couple of them. I love this. They are so fun. The way it changes the gauges. I love the old-timey gauges. I think these look absolutely fantastic. I love the trail gauge. So cool. This has been one of the most unique and fun things about this car that I have totally fallen in love with. Then we do get a wireless charger and cup holders. We'll do a big freaking bottle test here in the Mini Countryman SE, but unfortunately, yet somewhat predictably, it fails the big freaking bottle test. And then we get this little cubby that is perfect for holding one bag of pirate's booty, but other stuff, keys, cell phone, watch, anything like that. Really love this. Has a very cool look to it as well. And then we get an armrest and the seats. The seats are comfortable. The driver's seat is massage, which is very nice. It's not super intense, but it is certainly there. And it's finished in this nice brown leather. Absolutely love the look of this. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. So the Mini Countryman actually has an interior camera, so I'm going to use that to record this rear seat segment. The rear seats are not great. My knees are hitting the seat in front of me. My head isn't hitting the ceiling, so vertically it's pretty nice, but spatially it's not super great lengthwise. I do get 2 climate vents down here as well as 2 USB-Cs. The same nice brown leather carries on with the Mini on it. We do have a fold down center console that's very nice, and overall it's not an awful back seat, but this really does live up to the Mini name by not offering a whole lot of space. But hey, I actually got to record part of this review on the car itself. That's pretty cool. Let's hop into the trunk and take a look back there. Right around the back of the Mini Countryman, we do have a button down here. We do have a button on the key fob as well, but I don't have it on me. And it does have a power lift gate. You'd be surprised how many cars above $50,000 that don't have a power lift gate, but this one does. And once we are back here, nothing too crazy. I was able to fit a week's worth of groceries back here. We do have a 12-volt outlet over here, which is nice to see. And we do get some charging cords and things like that, but no spare tire found here in the Mini Countryman S. So once you do come up here, we do have the Mini roadside assistance, as well as these very obviously BMW buttons. Push it there, nice, smooth, calm, quiet, and collected. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I like the look of the Mini Countryman, although it is pretty big, and this does have the optional 19-inch wheels, which make it look even bigger. I think it still looks like a Mini, but it has that sort of adaptation to it. I overall like it. I'm not overly in love with it, but I do think it's relatively good looking. But as I mentioned, I thought it would be smaller. It is not small. The Countryman is the larger, pretty much crossover from Mini, so don't let that name fool you. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Mini Countryman SE All4 electric for the last week? Well, there have been very big positives and a couple of glaring negatives. Let's get the negatives out of the way. The range is poor. 204 miles at a completely full charge is not a lot, especially up at this price point. Over $50,000, there's going to be more competitive EVs with more range at that price. There are some other little instances that I don't like. The key turning issue, as I mentioned, the weird head-up display but not head-up display gauge clusters weird, little things like that. And it is expensive at $51,000, but this also isn't a mass consumer vehicle. It's more of a niche thing, so the price doesn't bother me that much. I have simply loved interacting with this vehicle for two reasons. First of all, performance. It is pretty quick and fun in a straight line. It gives me that sound as well, and the sound will change through the different experience modes, which I like a lot. But I do think that that circular infotainment screen is really something special. The experience modes, the little sounds that they play, how it changes the characteristic of the car is wonderful. I love the fact that the AI on board is this fun, cute little puppy. He doesn't sound cute, but at least he looks cute. You get a lot of cartoon images of the Mini Countryman that you can look at. It's fun. This infotainment is silly. It has a photo booth on board. You can take pictures with your friends and download them to your phone. That's silly. The drive modes, go-kart mode, you could have easily called it sport mode. You could have easily called it performance mode. But no, they called it go-kart, something that you and your family did for $20 at the local fun zone. Like, that's so cool to me that they called it go-kart mode. And so I really think that this car sets a template for what EVs should be. The advantage of EVs, in my mind, is the freedom. You can kind of design and build any car that you want because the platform is a skateboard. It doesn't matter what you put on top of it. Also, if we're gonna have all these screens, let's make them look fun. Let's make them do cool things. Let's make it highly customizable. And that's what Mini here has done. When I got in the car and I started playing with all the different modes and the photo booth and the ambient lighting and the experience modes with the sounds, I verbally said out loud, with no one else in the car, yes! Yes! This is what I've been asking for. Make it fun, make it silly. We need more silly vehicles on the market. And whether you like it or not, this Mini Countryman SE is silly. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I took this on a 4-hour trip through very boring back roads of Illinois, but it kept me entertained. I was putting it into go-kart mode and listening to it fake rev up and down. I was asking Spike, the artificial intelligence, all these questions. He said I could ask him life questions, and I did. Unfortunately, the meaning of life is 42. Spike said so. We got confirmation. That's just it. This car's silly. And although in practice it's not amazing with its lack of range and big price tag, this car has been fun. It's just been fun to play with. And that's something that I think more EVs should embrace. They should embrace the silly, embrace the oddity, because they all kind of drive the same, they all kind of do the same thing, they all get similar range. How are they going to stick out from one another? By being silly, and I think Mini has done that perfectly. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Mini for letting me borrow their Countryman SE for the last week. Huge thank you to G. Schmidt for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of the vehicle. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.